Hello, Calvin. It's Calm 101. Persuasive speech. No cards. Guest. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about 9/11. So in regards to 9/11, we will never know what truly happened, but we can raise awareness towards what did happen. So the fall of the towers was controlled by a demolition-style manner. The integrity of the building was compromised intentionally, and the number of unanswerable questions raises the more you investigate the details. Was 9/11 an inside job, or was it not? It could have been a coincidence. So today, I would like to explain to you why 9/11 could have potentially been an inside job. I have done extensive research as well as extensive research backed by curiously logical questions that many cannot help to ask. So by the end of the speech, I want to have piqued your interest towards suspicious questions that have been left unanswered by the American government. Then you can make the decision for yourself if the government had some type of influence with the terrorist attacks or if the government's had influence on the terrorist attacks of 9/11. So the University of Oregon multi-narrative panels bring up the point that America has done many false flag attacks. So basically, they refer to one in Cuba. A false flag attack is when one party coerces another party into an attack in order to stimulate a reaction for undisclosed reasons. There's no doubt that the plane hit the building. This is a quote straight from it was Bell. So it was from a witness that was there. There's no doubt that the planes hit the building and did a lot of damage, but look at the footage. Those buildings were demolished, and then he continued to say that the demolishing of the buildings didn't need all that much explosive, but it needed to be placed in the correct areas. So at like important joints within the building. So someone would have had a lot of access to both towers and a lot of time to do it. Referring to the demolition style in which the buildings fell. When looking at the footage of the planes hitting the building, there's an obvious explosion before the plane made contact with the tower itself. So this is suspicious, this is something that you see on demolition sites. So the supporting columns multi-point was a lot higher than the jet fuel's burning point. The engineering of the tower were meant to withstand 200-mile-per-hour winds as well as conventional fires. The building collapsed into itself, causing minimal damage to surrounding buildings. I don't know if that was, that's demolition style, was coincidence, or what have you be. I'm kind of sounding like a tinfoil hatter right now, to be honest. So was the building not up to civil engineering standard? Was the building not up to civil engineering standards? Could be, could not. Was it internally compromised by unknown government agencies or entities? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. So why did the towers collapse? The construction of the towers ahead of its time. The construction of the towers were ahead of its time. The beams were meant to withstand high heat fires, 200-mile-per-hour winds, and earthquakes up to 5.0 on the Richter scale. So staff in the building had reported and noticed unmarked suspicious people entering the building over the course of months before the actual attack. These people were secretive. There were no badges to identify who they actually were. So, but no one failed to ask. That no employees were aware of any renovations going on in the building at the time. So there's that. If the tower was not compromised, then how did the hijackers know which point of the building to hit to cause maximum damage without government intel? Some of the terrorists had lived in the United States, quotably taking flying lessons by American commercial flight schools, quoted Anger 2018, I believe that was a CNN article, which means the government was aware of their presence in the United States at the time. So why not have, raised awareness towards that? I don't know. What caused a series of miniature explosions coincidentally placed at the most vulnerable points at the building? Footage shows explosions placed at the corner joints of both towers that exploded in a synchronized demolition style manner. So it was the 89th floor, the 88th floor, 87th, and it went down like dice or like dominoes. So the next question to bring up is, how did the government identify the attackers as fast as they did, and why did they not have more intense investigation towards the actual 9/11 attacks? Why is it that the media why is it that the media coverage by the government investigation seemed to be lackluster and contained? The number of questions versus the number of answers is unproportionate and suspicious. You think they would have gone more in depth to it and released a lot more to the media. Where did the attackers gain enough money? That's another one brought up by CNN. They needed $500,000, $500,000 in order to conduct the hijacking that they did. That's from CNN's economic impact report. So they must have had some type of government assisted loan, otherwise the acquisition of that money would have been obviously apparent to the United States government. And also, how were all 19 attackers able to sneak their weapons so effortlessly through TSA and onto the aircraft? Box cutters and knives are easy to defend against when you realize the hijackers are going to crash that plane into a building. You know, you got suitcases, you got so many people against these 19 hijackers who are spread amongst 3 planes. So the fact that most of the surveillance, the fact that America is one of the most surveillance infested nations in the world, and we're not able to notice patterns leading up to the attack, it's just very, suspicious, I guess you could say, especially with the rising tensions between Osama bin Laden and America at the time. So yeah, the data nevertheless will forever be uncertain and unsettling. All we can do is analyze the facts and remain curious as to what happened on that day. It is impossible to know what happens behind closed doors, but I challenge you to remain open-minded about the media and open-minded and question the media. The questions and data only bring up government involvement and unanswered suspicious questions. You can come to your own conclusions. Stay curious.